jai. Nityalapa Vishnu Vishnupada Rashata Shimar Bhaktivedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Srila Gurudev Ki Jai. Nityalapa Vishnu Vishnupada Rashata Shimar Bhaktivedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalapa Vishnu Vishnupada Rashata Shimar Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityalapa Vishnu Vishnupada Rashata Shimar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalapa Vishnu Vishnupada Rashata Shimar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityalapa Vishnu Mahabhagavat Shalabhakshara Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalapa Vishnu Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Ṭhākura Ki Jai. Nityalapa Vishnu Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Rupariya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhattadas Raghunath Shara Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Swarup Damodar Rai Ramanantari Shri Gopal Shada Vrinda Ki Jai. Nama Jai Shri Hairas Ṭhākura Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Kshetra Mandala Gora Mandala Vaja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sarva Abhishya Bharata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda Ki Jai. Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya Ki Jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Oops. Shri Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Pada Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhakti Vedanta Narayanitti Namine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha. Gurve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Yam pravrajantam anupetam apeta krityam dvaipayano virahaka tara ajuhava putreti tanmayataya taravo bhinedus thang sarva bhuta hridayam munimanatosmi narayanam namaskritya narang chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye. Shrinvatang Swakatha Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtana Redantasto Yabhadrani Vidhunuti Suritsatam Nashta Prayeshvabhadreshu Nityang Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Tavai Vasmi Na Jivami Tvaya Vina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tvang Nayamang Charanantikam Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshaya Kshiptastakama Ditaranga Madhe Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Namaste Charana Ravindam. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Dandavat pranams Madhavi Didi, and Gargaraj ji, Raseshwari Mataji, Indira Mataji, and Ganga Mataji. Hari Bol, everybody. So we will continue. Let's go back to this Bhagavat Pravaha. Okay. So Krishna and Balaram had arrived at Kundinapur, and Bhishmaka received them with reverence and worshipped them with various gifts. The people of Vidarbha felt that Krishna alone would be a suitable husband for Rukmini and prayed for their union. Meanwhile, Rukmini went to the temple of Ambika and prayed to be allowed to have Sri Krishna as her husband. Then she left the temple and walked with deliberate steps until she noticed Krishna. Then, as everyone looked on, Krishna came on his chariot and took the princess with him. The inimical kings, including Jarasandha, pursued Krishna. Seeing the violent attack, Rukmini became fearful, but Krishna encouraged her. And Balaram and the Yadavs began to annihilate the opposing army. The enemy kings, headed by Jarasandha, withdrew their further attempts. Jarasandha consoled Shishupal, who then returned to his kingdom. But Rukmi took a vow that he would not return to Kund until Krishna had been destroyed and Rukmini rescued. Rukmi then set out with his army and struck Krishna with arrows and demanded that he release Rukmini. Krishna broke Rukmi's weapons to pieces. Then he raised his sword to kill Rukmi, but Rukmini pleaded him for her brother's life. Krishna then disfigured Rukmi by shaving off bits of his hair here and there. Balaram appeared at the sight and gently reproached Krishna for disfiguring the now family Rukmi. Balaram then pacified Rukmini. Then Rukmi. Okay, so let's. That's where we left off when Balaram was pacifying Rukmini. We didn't finish the last two verses. Haribo, Champak Didi, Dandavat Pranams, and also Gopikanta Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Okay, so let's finish off. Let's read. What did Baladev say? Oops, I keep on doing that. Let's see Baladev's advice to Rukmini. Okay. Rukmini, Balaram said, "Your attitude is unfair, for like an ignorant person, you wish good to those who are inimical to all living beings and who have done evil to your true well-wishers. The Supreme Lord's Maya makes men forget their real selves, and thus, taking the body for the self, they consider others to be friends, enemies, or neutral parties. Those who are bewildered perceive the one Supreme Soul who resides in all embodied beings as many, just as one may perceive the light in the sky, or the sky itself as many. This material body, which has a beginning and an end, is composed of the physical elements, the senses, and the modes of nature. The body, imposed on the self by material ignorance, causes one to experience the cycle of birth and death. O intelligent lady, the soul never undergoes contact with or separation from insubstantial material objects, because the soul is their very origin and illuminator. Thus, the soul resembles a sun, which neither comes in contact with nor separates from the sense of sight and what is seen. Okay, Indira Mataji said that we read up to this verse, huh? I thought we read 47. Anyways, okay. Um, okay, I'll just read it again. Janmadayastu dehasya vikriya natmana kvachit kalanam iva naivendror mritir hyasya kuhuriva. Birth and other transformations are undergone by the body, but never by the self, just as change occurs for the moon's phases, but never for the moon, though the new moon day is called the moon's death. Oh, yeah, we didn't read that. Commentary. Sārārtha-darśinī commentary by Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura. The soul has no connection with the body because it also has no birth or death. Sorry. Balaram states this in this verse. Then how does the self experience, I am born, I am a child, I am an old man? This is explained with an example. Just as there is no just as there for the moon's phases, but not for the moon itself, similarly, due to the demise of the phases, Kuhu, or the new moon day, Amavasya, is called death of the moon. In the same way, when the material body is destroyed, the term death is conventionally applied to the self. Yatashayana atmanam vishayan palamevacha anubhunkte pyasatyarte tatap tatapnotya buddho bhavan. As a sleeping person perceives himself, the objects of sense enjoyment, and the fruits of his acts within the illusion of a dream, so one who is unintelligent undergoes material existence. Commentary. From the Shruti statement, Asango Hyayam Purusha, the living being has no intimate connection with the material world. It is understood that the self is never in contact with the body. But by the inconceivable potency of ignorance, he imagines his connection with the body and experiences material life. This is exemplified by an analogy in this verse. Although present within something which is unreal, a person who is dreaming experiences himself conquering countries with a vast army and enjoying the fruits of victories such as garlands, sandalwood paste, and beautiful women. Sometimes he also experiences defeat, bondage, beating, and abuse. In the same way, the unintelligent person experiences in an unreal way the world of happiness and distress due to his association with the material body. A similar statement is found in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 11.22.56. Arte hya vidyamanepi sangsritir na nivartate dhyayato vishayan asya swapne narthagamo yata. Although material life has no factual existence, it does not go away for one who is meditating on sense enjoyment, just as the unpleasant experiences of a dream do not disappear. Tasmad agyanajam shokam atmashosha vimohanam tattvajnanena nihritya swastha bhava shuchi smite. Therefore, with transcendental knowledge, with transcendental knowledge, dispel the grief that is weakening and confounding your mind. Please resume your natural mood, O princess of the pristine smile. Commentary. Balaram said, because this is so, please become well composed and resume your natural mood. Please smile and show the natural blossoming of your face, rather than grieving like an ordinary material bride. Shishuka uvacha evam bhagavata tanvi ramena pratibodhita vaimanasyam parityaja manabuddhya samadadhe. Shukadev Goswami said, thus enlightened by Lord Balaram, slender Rukmini forgot her depression and steadied her mind by spiritual intelligence. Commentary. Rukmini composed herself by giving up the depression of thinking, what will people say about me? Pranavashesha utsrishto Tvedbhirhata bala prabha Smaran virupa karanam Vitatatma manoratha Chakre bojakatam nama Nivasaya mahatpuram. Left with only his life air, cast out by his enemies, and deprived of his strength and bodily radiance, Rukmi could not forget how he had been disfigured. In frustration, he constructed for his residence a large city, which he called Bhojakata. Commentary. Expelled by his enemies means that Rukmi was insulted by the Yadu soldiers with abuses, curses, and chastisement as he walked away from Krishna. Ahatva dormatim Krishnam apratyoha yaviyasim kundinam na pravekshyame tyuktva tatras vasarusha. Because he had promised, I will not re enter Kundina until I have killed wicked Krishna and brought back my younger sister. In a mood of angry frustration, Rukmi took up residence at that very place. Commentary. Rukmi constructed a large which he named Bhojakata. According to the Nanartha Varga dictionary, the word bhoja means experience, and the word kata means vow. Thus, Bhoja Kata is the place where Rukmi experienced misery as a result of his vow to offer Rukmini to Shishupal. 1 second. Just. Bhagavan Bhishmaka Sutam Evam Nirjitya Bhumipan Puram Aniya Vidhivar Upayeme Kurutvaha. Thus defeating all the opposing kings, the Supreme Personality of Godhead brought the daughter of Bhishmaka to his capital and married her according to the Vedic injunctions, O protector of the Kurus. Tadama mahotsavo nrinam yadupuryam grihe grihe abur ananya bhavanam Krishne yadupato nripa. At that time, O king, there was great rejoicing in all the homes of Yadupuri, whose citizens loved only Krishna, chief of the Yadus. Commentary. The Dwarkavasis, who had exclusive love for Krishna, began celebrating. Nara naryashchamudita pramrishta manikundala paribarham upajahurur varayoschitravasaso. All the men and women, full of joy and adorned with shining jewels and earrings, brought wedding presents which they reverentially offered to the exquisitely dressed groom and bride. Commentary. They offered worthy gifts such as household utensils to the bride and groom. Savrishni Puryutabhitai. Savrishni Puryuttamabhitendra Ketubhir. Vichitramalyam Bararatnatoranai. Babho Pratidvarupak. I don't know what that is. Upakripta Mangalar. Klipta Mangalar. Apurna Kumbha Gurudhupadipakay. The city of the Vrishnis appeared most beautiful. There were tall, festive columns, and also archways decorated with flower garlands, cloth banners, and precious gems. Arrangements of auspicious full water pots, aguru scents, and lamps graced every doorway. Commentary. There were tall flagpoles erected in the city, which appeared like an architecture. There are flagpoles, which appeared like architectural columns. They are called Indra Ketubir because the banners attached to them reached upward toward the city of Lord Indra. Siktamarga Madachurbir Ahuta Prishtabhu Bhujam Kajardvasu Paramrishta Rambapu Gopashobhita. The city's streets were cleansed by the intoxicated elephants belonging to the beloved kings who were guests at the wedding. And these elephants further enhanced the beauty of the city by placing trunks of plantain and betel nut trees in all the doorways. That's cool. Commentary. The streets were sprinkled with the mudda from the elephants. The streets were sprinkled with the mudda from the elephants of the friendly kings attending the wedding. The doorways were ornamented with tall banana and betel nut trees. Kurusrinjaya Kaikeya Vidarbha Yadukuntaya Mitamumudire Tasmin Sambhramat Paridhavatam. Those who belonged to the royal families of the Kuru, Srinjaya, Kaikeya, Vidarbha, Yadu, and Kunti clans joyfully met one another in the midst of the crowds of people, excitedly running here and there. Commentary. Gathering together, they rejoiced. Rukminya haranam shrutva giyamanam tatastata rajano rajakanyascha babhuvur brishavismita. The kings and their daughters were totally astonished to hear the story of Rukmini's abduction, which was being glorified and sung everywhere. Dvarakayam abhur rajan mahamoda purokasam Rukminya ramayopetam drishtva krishnam shriyapatim. Dwarka's citizens were overjoyed to see Krishna, the lord of all opulence, united with Rukmini, the goddess of fortune. Thus ends the commentary on the 54th chapter of the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, for the pleasure of the devotees in accordance with the previous acharyas. So now we come to chapter 55. Let me just look at the comments. Haribo, Pradyumna Prabhu, and Mantaramurti Mataji, and Rup Manjari, and Nitai. Haribo. Okay. Chapter 55, the history of Pradyumna. Shri Shuka Uvacha. Oh God, it's so cold here. All right. The history of Pradyumna. Shri Shuka Uvacha. Kamastu Vasadevo Dagda Pragrudamanyuna Deho Papattaye Bhuyas Tam Eva Pratyapadyata. Shukadev Goswami said, Kamadev, Cupid, an expansion of Vasudev, had previously been burned to ashes by Rudra's anger. Now, to obtain a new body, he merged back into the body of Lord Vasudev. Commentary. In this chapter, Pradyumna, the son of Rukmini, is stolen by Shambhara. Later, Pradyumna kills him and returns with his wife. We should understand the sequence of events to be that Pradyumna was born prior to Krishna's marriages to Jambavati, we should understand the sequence of events to be that Pradyumna was born prior to Krishna's marriages to Jambavati and the other queens. Then the marriages took place, and after that, Pradyumna returned home. In this context, however, while the birth of Pradyumna is being described, all of his activities are also recounted, since they deserve being related. It is seen that when the eternal associates of the Supreme Lord appear in this world by the Lord's own desire, they assume the reputations of the opulent potencies, vibhutis, that Krishna contains within himself, rather than appearing according to their own reputations. This is done so that the materialistic men do not raise doubts in order to protect the confidential nature of bhakti. This is stated by Krishna himself to Uddhav in the 11th canto, Paroksha Vada Rishaya Paroksham Mama Cha Priyam. The Vedic seers and mantras deal in esoteric terms, and I also am pleased by such confidential descriptions. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 11.21.35. In this way, the Vasu named Drona, Krishna's vibhuti, was merged into Nanda, and Drona's wife Dhara merged into Yashoda. The demigod named Vasu became Uddhav. Indra became Arjuna. Yamaraj became Vidura, and Kartikeya became Samba. Even the Supreme Lord himself, through the celebrity of his plenary portions, which actually merge within him when he appears. For example, sometimes the Lord of Vaikuntha comes and takes birth in the home of Vasudev, and sometimes it is Lord Vaman, or sometimes Rishi Narayan, or Kshiradakshai Vishnu. In this way, Pradyumna, who is the third member of Krishna's eternal fourfold plenary expansion, the Chaturvyuha, appeared according to the reputation of the mundane Cupid, Kamdev, who is contained within himself, Pradyumna, and is an expansion of his own opulence as stated in this verse. This verse describes Kamdev as an expansion or vibhuti of Krishna or Vasudev, Vasudevangsho. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna confirms that he is Kamadev, Prajanas Chasmi Kandarpa. Of progenitors, I am Kandarpa, Cupid. That's Bhagavad Gita 10.28. Kamdev attained another body by entering into the body of Pradyumna. This he attains not by his own powers, but by the will of the Lord, the ocean of variegated pastimes. Sa eva jato vaidarbhyam Sa eva jatavaidarbhyam Krishna virya samurbhava Pradyumna iti vikhyata sarvato navamapitu. He took birth in the womb of Vaidarbhi from the seed of Lord Krishna and received the name Pradyumna. In no respect was he inferior to his father. Commentary. Kamdev thus became famous as Pradyumna. Actually, Pradyumna is part of the Chaturvyuha with a spiritual Satchidananda body, whereas Kamadev is just a jiva, a conditioned soul, with special powers. The Gopal Tapani Upanishad 240 confirms this point. Yatraso samstita Krishnas tribi shaktya samahita Rama niruddha pradyumnai rukminya sahito vibhu. In Dwarka, the almighty Shri Krishna, endowed with full potency, resided in the company of his three plenary expansions, Balaram, Aniruddha, and Pradyumna. This is also stated by Narad Muni in the mantra recited by him in the first canto, chapter 5, verse 37. Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam Vasudevaya Dhimahi Pradyumnaya Niruddhaya Nama Sankarshanaya Cha. Let us all chant the glories of Vasudeva along with his plenary expansions Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Sankarshan. The present verse mentions that Pradyumna was not less than his father Krishna in any way. The mundane Cupid, Kamdev, the servant of Indra, can never be described in this way. Thus, the proper explanation should be that he, Cupid, entered within Pradyumna by the will of the Lord and became situated there, just as the universe is situated within Krishna, or as Drona merged with Nanda Maharaj. Tam Shambhara Kamarupi Hritva Tokam Anirdasham Sa Viditvatmana Shatrum Prasyo Dandvatyagar Griham. The demon Shambhara, who could assume any form he desired, kidnapped the infant before he was even 10 days old. Understanding Pradyumna to be his enemy, Shambhara threw him into the sea and then returned home. My God, evil. Just threw the little baby into the sea. Commentary. Shambhara stole the infant before he was 10 days old. The Vishnu Puran says, Pradyumna was kidnapped 6 days after his birth. Shambhara understood Kamdev was his enemy because he learned from Narad that Kamdev would kill him in the future. Tam nirja gara balavan mina sopya parai saha vritto jalena mahata grihito matsya jivibhi. A powerful fish swallowed Pradyumna, and this fish, along with others, was caught in a huge net and seized by fishermen. Commentary. Pradyumna was swallowed by a powerful fish. This is done by the desire of the Lord, who likes to perform a variety of pastimes. It was not that the fish was stronger than Pradyumna. Tam Shambharaya Varta Upajahrur Upayanam Sudha Mahanasam Nitva Vadyam Sudhitinarbhutam. The fisherman presented that extraordinary fish to Shambhara, who had his cooks bring it to the kitchen, where they began cutting it up with a butcher knife. Commentary. The cooks cut open the fish with a big knife. Drishtva dudare balam mayavatyay nyavedayan narado katayat sarvam tasya shankita chetasa balasya tatamutpatim matsyodara niveshanam. Seeing a male child in the belly of the fish, the cooks gave the infant to Mayavati, who was astonished. Narad Muni then appeared and explains to her everything about the child's birth and his entering the fish's abdomen. Commentary. This is such an interesting story. Commentary. Told her everything means Narad said, Mayavati, this child is Cupid, Kamdev, your husband. Sacha kamasya vai patni ratir nama yashashvini patyur nirdagda dehasya dehotpatim pratikshati nirupita shambharena sasudodanat sadhane kamadevam shishum buddhva chakre sneham tadarbhake. Mayavati was in fact Cupid's renowned wife, Rati. While waiting for her husband to obtain a new body, his previous one having been burnt up, she had been assigned by Shambhara to prepare vegetables and rice. Mayavati understood that this infant was actually Kamdev, and thus she began to feel love for him. Commentary. The Matsya Puran explains why Mayavati was waiting for Kamadev, Cupid, to take a new body. When Cupid's body was burnt to ashes by Lord Shiva, Rati worshipped Lord Shiva to obtain another body for Cupid. Shambhara, having also come to Shiva for a benediction, was recognized by the Lord first, who told him, "You should now ask for your benediction." Shambhara, struck with lust at seeing Rati, replied that he wanted her as his benediction, and Shiva complied. Lord Shiva then comforted the weeping Rati, telling her, Go with him, and in his very home you will attain what you desire. Thereupon, Rati bewildered Shambhara with her deluding power, and, taking the name Mayavati, remained in his house without being touched by him. Nati dirghena kalena sakarshi rudhayovana janayam asanarinam vikshantinam chavibhramam. After a short time, this son of Krishna, Pradyumna, attained his full youth. He enchanted all women who gazed upon him. Satam patim parma dalayate kshanam paralamba bahum naraloka sundaram savredaha sotabhita vekshati prityo pataste ratirangaso ratai. My dear king, with a bashful smile and raised eyebrows, Mayavati exhibited various gestures of conjugal attraction as she lovingly approached her husband, whose eyes were broad like the petals of a lotus, whose arms were very long, and who is the most beautiful of men. Commentary. Rati expressed conjugal attraction to Pradyumna by the dancing movements of her upraised eyebrows. Here's the truth about this. Intending to inform him of the entire truth of his identity, either that very day or else the next day, she was thinking, then I will display full conjugal love for him. But by the whim of destiny, Mayavati came under the sway of lust even before revealing the truth to him in private, and spontaneously exhibited her conjugal feelings. But wait, is Pradyumna still a baby? Anyways, okay. Tamaha Bhagavan Karshnir Mataste Matiranyata Matri Bhavam Atikramya Vartase Kamani Yatha. Lord Pradyumna told her, "O mother, your attitude has changed. You are overstepping the proper feelings of a mother and behaving like a lover." Commentary. The word Bhagavan, Supreme Lord, implies that even though Pradyumna was endowed with qualities of omniscience, nevertheless, by the will of Krishna, the treasure house of transcendental pastimes, Pradyumna's omniscience became covered, and he spoke in this manner. The real meaning of his words is, you should not have any other tendency than this ecstatic loving attraction. You should not have any other tendency than this ecstatic loving attraction you are displaying. After all, you have quite rightly transgressed the mood of a mother and are actually my lover in conjugal ras. Ratir uvacha. Let me just check the comments really quick. Haribo Surevi Didi. Dandavat pranam. Oh wait, there's a question. One thing, Gopikanta Prabhu. So your question is, are the pastimes of Dwarkadish Krishna eternal in the same way as those from Vraj? Yes, yes, the pastimes in Dwarka are eternal. Same like in Vraj, but only thing is the pastimes in the demons and like the enemies of Krishna, those are not in the Nitya Dwarka, like in Goloka. That just happens in this world. Okay, he was grown up by this time, but yeah, still kind of weird. All right, so let's see. Ratir uvacha Bhavan Narayana Sutta Shambarena Hrito Grihat Ahangte Thikrita Patni Rati Kamo Bhavan Prabho. Rati said, "You are the son of Lord Narayan and were kidnapped from your parents' home by Shambara. I, Rati, am your legitimate wife, O master, because you are Cupid." I wonder how many years older Mayavati is. Commentary. Mayavati considered him to be Kamadev, so she said, I am your wife. Pradyumna made her, who was formerly Rati, the material wife of the material Kamdev. His sorry. Pradyumna made her, who was formerly Rati, the material wife of the material Kamdev. Pradyumna made her his wife by touching her, just as a touchstone transforms objects by contact. However, she is actually his own eternal Shakti, the mother of Aniruddha, according to the Vaishnava-Toshini. Rukmavati was the actual mother. Esha tvanirdasham sindhav akshipachchambaro sura matsyo grasit tarudharad itta prapto bhavan prabho. That demon, Shambhara, threw you into the sea when you were not even 10 days old, and a fish swallowed you. Then, in this very place, we recovered you from the fish's abdomen, O Master. Tam imam jahidur dharsham turjayam shatramatmana maya shatta vidam tamcha maya bhir mohanadibhi. Now kill this dreadful Shambhara, your formidable enemy. Although he knows hundreds of magic spells, you can defeat him with bewildering magic and other techniques. Parishochati mata kurariva gata praja putra sneha kula dina vivatsa gaur ivatura. Oops. Your poor mother, having lost her son, cries for you like a kurari bird. She is overwhelmed with love for her child, just like a cow that has lost its calf. Prabhashyavam tadovid Pradyumnaya Mahatmane Mayavati Mahamayam Sarvamaya Vinashinim. Shukadev Goswami continued. Speaking thus, Mayavati gave to the great soul Pradyumna the mystic knowledge called Mahamaya, which vanquishes all other deluding spells. Sacha Shambharamabhyetya Samyugaya Samavayat Avishahyais Tamakshepai Kshipan Sanjanayan Kalim. Pradyumna approached Shambhara and called him to battle, hurling intolerable insults at him to foment a conflict. Sodikshipto durvachobhi padahata ivoraga nishchakrama gadapanir amarshat tamralochana. Offended by these harsh words, Shambhara became as agitated as a kicked snake. He came out, club in hand, his eyes red with rage. Gadam avidyatarasa Pradyumnaya Mahatmane Prakshipya Vyanadan Nadam Vajra Nishpeshanishturam. Shambhara whirled his club swiftly about and then hurled it at the wise Pradyumna, producing a sound as sharp as a thundercrack. Commentary. Throwing the club, Shambhara produced a sound as sharp as a thundercrack. The phrase Vyanadan Nadam, creating a renaissance, is a valid statement. Resonance, sorry. Did I say renaissance? Sorry. The phrase Vyanadan Nadam, creating a resonance, is a valid statement in the same way as the phrase Vachanam avochat, he made a statement. So throwing the club, Shambhara produced a sound as sharp as a thundercrack. Tam apatantim Sorry. Tam apatantim bhagavan pradyumno gadaya gadam apasya shatrave krudha prahinot swagadam nripa. As Shambhara's club came flying toward him, Lord Pradyumna knocked it away with his own. Then, O king, Pradyumna angrily threw his club at the enemy. Sacha mayam samashritya daiteyim maya darshitam mumuchestra mayang farsham karshno vaihayaso sura. Resorting to the black magic of the Daitas taught to him by Maya Danava, Shambhara suddenly appeared in the sky and released a downpour of weapons upon Krishna's son. Commentary. While moving in the sky, Shambhara released weapons on Kamadev. Bhadyamanostravarshena rokmirneyo maharata Satvatmikan Mahavidyam Sarvamayopamardinim. Harassed by this rain of weapons, Lord Rukmineya. Harassed by this rain of weapons, Lord Rukmineya, the great powerful warrior, made use of the mystic science called Mahamaya, which was created from the mode of goodness and which could defeat all other mystic power. Commentary. Kamadev used sattvika weapons. The verb of the sentence prayunkta he used is found in the next verse. Tato goyaka gandharva paisha chora garakshasi prayunkta daitya karshnir vyadha mayat sata. The demon then unleashed hundreds of mystic weapons belonging to the Guhyakas, Gandharvas, Pishachas, Uragas, and Rakshasas. But Lord Karshni, Pradyumna, struck them all down. Nishatam asimudyamya sakiritam sakundalam Shambharasya shirakayat tamras shmashvorjasaharat. Drawing his sharp-edged sword, Pradyumna forcefully cut off Shambhara's head, complete with red mustache, helmet, and earrings. Akiryamano divijay, stuvarbhi kusumotkaray, bharyayambaracharinya, puram nitto vihayasa. As the residents of the higher planets showered Pradyumna with flowers and chanted his praises, his wife appeared in the sky and transported him through the heavens back to the city of Dwarka. Antapura varam rajan lalana shatasankulam vivesha patnya ganganar vidyuteva balahaka. O king, Lord Pradyumna and his wife resembled a cloud accompanied by lightning as they descended from the sky to the inner quarters of Krishna's most excellent palace, which were crowded with lovely women. Tang drishtva jalada shyamam pita koshe avasasam pralamba bahum tam raksham susmitam ruchirananam Salankrita mukham bojam Nilavakralakalibhi Krishnam matva striyo hrita Nilius tatra tatraha. The women of the palace thought that he was Lord Krishna when they saw his dark blue complexion, the color of a rain cloud, his yellow silk garments, his long arms and red-tinged eyes, his charming lotus face adorned with a pleasing smile, his fine ornaments, and his thick, curly, blue hair. Thus the women became bashful and hid themselves here and there. Commentary. Pradyumna looked like Krishna with his abundant hair, which was both dark blue and curly. avadharya shanar ishar vilakshanye nayoshita upajagmo pramudita sastri ratnam suvismita. Gradually, from the slight differences between his appearance and Krishna's, the ladies realized he was not the Lord. Delighted and astonished, they approached Pradyumna with his consort, who was a Jew among women. Commentary. Understanding that Pradyumna was not Krishna by his differing characteristics, the queens approached him and his consort, Rati, who is described as the jewel among women, Stri Ratnam. Atatatra sita pangi vidarbhi valgubhashini asmarat swasutam nashtam snehasnuta payodhara. Sing Pradyumna, sweet voiced, dark eyed. Sing Pradyumna, sweet voice. Let me try this again. Sing Pradyumna, sweet voiced, dark eyed Rukmini remembered her lost son, and her breasts became moist out of affection. Konvayam naravi vaidurya kasya va kamalekshana dhritakaya vajatare keyang labdha tvanenava. Srimati Rukmini Devi said, "Who is this lotus-eyed jewel among men? What man's son is he? And what woman carried him in her womb? And who is this woman? And who is this woman he has taken as his wife?" Commentary. Rukmini said, "Whose son is this best among men?" Mamachapyatmajo nashto nitya sutika grihat etat tulya vayorupo yadi jivati kutrachit. If my lost son, who is kidnapped from the maternity home, were still alive somewhere, he would be of the same age and appearance as this young man. Commentary. Rukmini continued, "My son, who was taken by some kidnapper, Balagraham, Caesar of children, would be of the same age and appearance as this young man." Katam tanena sampraptam sarupyam sharangadhanvana akritya vayavair gatya swarahasavalokanai. But how is it that this young man so much resembles my own Lord Krishna, the wielder of Sharanga, in his bodily form and his limbs, and his gait and the tone of his voice, and in his smiling glance? Sa eva va bhavennunam yo me garbhe dhritor bhaka amushmin pritiradhika vaspurati me bhuja. Yes, he must be the same child I bore in my womb, since I feel great affection for him, and my left arm is quivering. Evam mimang samam, evam mimang samanayam. Oh God, let me try again. Evam mimang samanayam vaidarbhyam devaki sutta devakyana devakyanakadundubhyam uttama shloka agamat. As Queen Rukmini conjectured in this way, Lord Krishna, the son of Devaki, arrived on the scene with Vasudeva and Devaki. Vigyatartopi bhagavansh tushnim asa janardana narado katayat sarvam shambara haranadikam. Wow, haven't got a message from Sanatan forever now. Anyways, I'll call him back. Vigyatartopi bhagavangs. Oh, I just read that.
Although Lord Janardhan knew perfectly well what had transpired, he remained silent. The sage Narad, however, explained everything, beginning with Shambhara's kidnapping of the child. Tat Shrutva Maharashcharyam Krishnanta Puruyoshita Abhyanandan Bahun Abdan Nashtam Ritam Ivagatam. When the women of Lord Krishna's palace heard this most amazing account, they joyfully greeted Pradyumna, who had been lost for many years, but who had now returned as if from the dead. Devaki Vasudevascha Krishna Ramo Tatastriya Tampatito Parishvajya Rukmi Chayayurmudam. Devaki, Vasudev, Krishna, Balaram, and all the women of the palace, especially Queen Rukmini, embraced the young couple and rejoiced. Nashtam Pradyumnam Atam Akarnya Dvarako Kasa Aho Mrita Ivayato Balodishtetiha Bruvan. Hearing that lost Pradyumna had come home, the residents of Dwarka declared, "Ah, Providence has allowed this child to return as if from death." Yang vai mohu pitri saru yang vai mohu pitri sarupa. Oh, sorry guys, I don't know why I'm messing up. Okay. Yambai moho pitri sarupa nijesha bhavas tan mataro yarabajan raharuda bhava chitram natat kaluramas padabimba bimbe kame smareksha vishaye kim utanya narya. It is not astonishing that the palace women, who should have felt maternal affection for Pradyumna, privately felt ecstatic attraction for him as if he were their own lord. After all, the son exactly resembled his father. Indeed, Pradyumna was a perfect reflection of the beauty of Lord Krishna, the shelter of the goddess of fortune, and appeared before their eyes as Cupid himself. Since even those on the level of his mother felt conjugal attraction for him, then what to speak of how other women felt when they saw him? Commentary. This verse describes the beauty of Pradyumna. On seeing him, Rukmini thought of bhavs. She thought of her own Lord Krishna, her own Lord Sri Krishna, because his beauty was equal to that of Krishna, his father. However, the word tan mataro, his mother's, refers to Rukmini alone, but appears in the plural form to show respect. Even before finding out Pradyumna's identity, Rukmini developed full-blown ecstatic motherly love for him, as stated previously in verse 34, Anushmin Pritir Adika. I feel great affection for him. Rukmini displayed her paternal affection in the privacy of her chambers, since Krishna's other wives did not have the rights to enter there. Concluding that Pradyumna must be her last son, but still Rukmini then worshipped him, abhajan, by inspecting his limbs, smelling his head, and stroking his body with her hands. It was not astonishing for her to act in this way with Pradyumna. Why? Because he was the shelter of the goddess of fortune, the abode of all beauty, and the most perfect reflection of the personal form of Krishna, be seen in all the three worlds. Thus, ascertains that Pradyumna was Krishna's son, and now had directly realized this herself. But only she, his mother, had such an attitude toward him, and no other woman, as stated by the words beginning Kami Smare. Pradyumna is called Kamadev or Smara because whenever the palace women saw Pradyumna, they immediately remembered their consort, Sri Krishna. Even without Pradyumna's presence, lust would arise in the queens just by remembering him. What to speak then of his personal presence? Could any other woman behave like Rukmini toward Pradyumna, who's Kamadev, Smara? No, they could not, for they would become agitated by lust. Thus ends the commentary on the 55th chapter of the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam for the pleasure of the devotees in accordance with the previous acharyas. All right, so tomorrow we will read 56, the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam jewel. Is Bhavatarani Mataji here? Maybe we can sing that. Samantaka jewel, bright and shiny jewel. Alright. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. जय श्री श्री गुरु गौरांग गंधार्विक गिरिधारी श्री श्री राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जय, श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जू की जय, नित्य प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जय, नित्य प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय, नित्य प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, नित्य प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय, नित्य प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टतर शत शिशिमार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय, नित्य प्रविष्ट महाभागवत श्री गोकिशोर बाबाजी महाराज की जय, नित्य प्रविष्ट श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय, नित्य प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबाजी महाराज की जय, श्री रूपानुग गौरी गुरु वार्ग की जय, श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ, श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ, शार गोसाई प्रभु की जय, श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय, नाम चाहे श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय, प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जय, सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदात गिरिराज महाराज की जय, श्री राधा कुंज श्याम कुंज यमुना गंगा तुलसी भक्ति देवी की जय, श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्री रुक्मिणी द्वारकाधीश की जय, श्री प्रद्युम्न की जय, मायावती की जय, श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्री विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर की जय, Sārārtha-darśinī वृत्ति की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल, वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवाय कृष्ण भक्ति प्रददेवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः, वंशा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Dandavat pranams everybody. Oh, Rukmini Didi, that song, that is from Bhavatarani Mataji. She put out an album called, I think it was called, what is it? Oh, Pradyumna knows, Songs of India. So, yeah, that was one of the songs in the album. There it is. Samantaka jewel, bright and shining jewel. I can play it. Maybe if there's time tomorrow, I can play it. All right. See you all tomorrow, everybody. Jai Shri Radhe. Dandavat pranam Rukmini Didi. And Pradyumna Prabhu, Mantra Murti Mataji, and Tira Mataji. Rup Manjari Didi. Everybody. Nitai. Yeah, that album has you know the song. I think this is the most famous song from that album. Chanting, chanting the names of the Lord. Hiranyakashipu was king, and the evil one was he. He bargained with Lord Brahma for immortality. Not to die in the day, not to die in the night, not to die in the land, not to die in the sea. You know that one? So that's from that album. And yeah, a bunch of songs. The Tilak song. Anyhow, maybe tomorrow we can sing it. All right. Jai Shri Radhe. See you all tomorrow. Hare Krishna.